We begin with the bold paper. This is what is on the front page of the Standard today. Sagana 3 aftershocks. Sagana 3 aftershocks is what is headlining the front page of the Standard today. And you can see what next. That is the abiding question. After Uhuru's Wednesday's blistering attack, he's been lined up an intense campaign plan to clip Ruto's wings in Mount Kenya, even as the DP's Kenya-Kwanza alliance plot counter-attack that avoids head-on response to president. And we have the story well spread out on page 4, 6 and 7 of the Standard this morning. 30-day campaign blitz in Mount Kenya. Woo leaders and clip Ruto's support. Uhuru, Raila to start rallies after a month. And that is what the president said there. William Ruto says president has right to back Raila. Changes tack on response to Uhuru. Unveils packed trip to US and the UK. We have also Raila here. We'll be holding NGC today and NDC on Saturday. Jubilee will be holding similar talks. Raila to be also unveiled as Azimio candidate. That is the current state of play there. Still, we know what the world is watching with remorse on what is happening in Ukraine right now. Russian fire rains down on Ukraine, and the latest development right now is they've gained territory on Chernobyl. The nuclear power plant in Chernobyl has been captured by the Russian forces so far. We'll give you more details of this in the course of the program. But you can see the devastation of the war. Here we can see the Ukrainian State Border Guard service site damaged by shelling in Kyiv region, Ukraine yesterday. Russia invaded its neighbor after months of tension, which reached a new height on Monday when Moscow recognized Donetsk and Luhansk, the two breakaway regions, as independent states. You can follow the story inside the Standard today on the world affairs there. Also, outrage after new 100 million shillings bridge in Kajiado collapses. Pai Bridge on River Orkeriai, that is Orkeriai in Kajiado East collapses following heavy rains on Tuesday and Wednesday, barely a week after the country's governor Joseph Olelenku commissioned it. You can follow the story on page 25 of the Standard this morning. Let me just scroll up there and show you what we have on the teaser. Kalonzo allies set to join Raila in Azimio. That is on page 8 of the Standard. Also, City Hall silent over auction. That story continues on page 23 of the Standard. And Red Sun wins top award. You can find all the details there on the Pounds magazine, which is a pull-out magazine that comes in handy for you every Friday. This is how the Standard looks. Make sure you grab a copy for yourself for riveting, compelling stories there. Good. Let's move on and we see what we have also in other dailies. And this is what you're working up to on the front page of the Daily Nation. Daily Nation is holding this splash for you. A prophet or a project? That is a probing question. Well, it's slow on the uptake a bit, but it's coming up shortly. A prophet or a project? That is the probing question on the front page of the Daily Nation today. And who's that prophet or a project? This is it. And also you can see he's got, of course, his headgear there as a prophet or a project, and that is Raila. How did he get here? That is a probing question there. Raila Odinga, as Keanu of opposition Doyen, Jaramogi, inherited the rebellious streak of his father and has kept the flame of dissidence burning for over 4 decades until now, when his presidential candidacy is considered somewhat unusual. Today, 2 parallel events by Jubilee and ODM will take place in Nairobi, and both will have a common political objective that highlights the shocking, if not outrageous, transformation this rebel with a cause has undergone as he mounts his 5th run for president. You have this story continuing on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. And Ruto is answering Uhuru here. The Deputy President downplays Kenyatta's endorsement of his main rival Odinga as inconsequential to his chance of winning this year's presidential election. And this story continues on page 12 and 13 of the Daily Nation today. Kenya has been banned indefinitely by FIFA over government interference. World Football Governing Body FIFA has suspended Kenya from all international football activities over government interference. You can follow the story on page 51 of the Daily Nation today. And Kenya's stakes in Ukraine war. What does this portend really for this country? That is a probing question that is being asked there by the Daily Nation. Russia's ground forces yesterday invaded Ukraine from several directions, encircling the territory with hours of President Vladimir Putin announcing his decision to launch an assault. But even though this is happening hundreds of miles away, the conflict could hit Kenyan households hard if imports from the two countries are disrupted, resulting in shortages that could raise the cost of bread, ugali, fertilizer, and machinery. You have this story tucked away on page 2-3 of the Daily Nation this morning. This is what is happening today. High Court rolls back Munya's tea reforms is another story that you want to follow there. Agriculture Minister did not follow the law in appointing 8-member committee to implement reforms in the tea sector. This is what the judge said there. You can follow the story on page 8 of the Daily Nation this morning. Good, let's move on and see what we have also on the front pages of the Business Daily. We buckle down to some business a bit, and this is what you're waking up to on the front page of the Business Daily. Coming up shortly. Right, Business Daily is holding this flash for you. It's about CBK, even after the announcement that they are now upsetting the apple cart as far as dominance is concerned in the digital pay. They want to link M-Pesa with Airtel. CBK seeks linking Lipa and M-Pesa with Airtel. Regulator to remove hurdle where telcos users cannot use Safaricom's till pay bill codes. Let me just read what they're saying here. The Central Bank of Kenya will launch a national payments system that will force Safaricom to accept cash from rival firms such as Airtel on its Lipa and M-Pesa, enabling a seamless transfer of money through merchants. The new system, to be introduced by 2024, will remove the hurdle where Airtel subscribers, for example, cannot pay for goods and services through Safaricom's till and pay bill numbers. This story continues on page 4 of the Business Daily. Also, state pushes to raise debt ceiling to 13 trillion shillings. Parliament has asked the Treasury to increase the debt ceiling to allow it borrow 846 billion shillings to plug the budget deficit in the next financial year. You can follow that story on page 2 of the Business Daily this morning. Also, NSE sheds 92 billion shillings in a day as Russia invades Ukraine, right? You can see how the markets are getting spooked here as well. Investors at the Nairobi Securities Exchange yesterday lost 92 billion shillings as global stocks plunged after President Vladimir Putin launched an invasion of Ukraine, making it the biggest single-day loss in over 2 years. The market capitalization closed at 2.453 trillion shillings compared to 2.56 trillion shillings on Wednesday, with Safaricom East Africa Breweries Limited and the big banks leading in shedding value in the wake of their sell-off. The blue chip stocks are a favorite of foreign investors who in recent days have been selling shares at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. You can follow the story on page 4 of the Business Daily this morning. And you can see a picture here. This is the protest. People are protesting against, this is in Berlin, against Russia's invasion of Ukraine yesterday in front of the Chancellery in Berlin. Russia sent forces into Ukraine, triggering fears of a major war in Eastern Europe. And right now also Estonia has sent its troops to the borders as well to just secure its borders. This is how the world also is preparing for this particular invasion in Russia. The spillover, you can see, also is affecting our markets here. This is on the front page of the Business Daily. That's how it looks today. Good, let's move on and see what we have in other dailies. And we'll show you also the editorial cartoons as well. Our guests are already in studio. I can see also joining us this morning is the Secretary General of the Evangelical Alliance of Kenya, Dr. Nelson Mkanda, who is waking up early to be with us as well. Our topic of discussion is to say the reaction of the president and how he is seeing the charge that he's become a conduit of corruption, aiding and abetting, of course, leaders whose sources of money cannot be told. But is it fair for the president also to use that a broad brush stroke, of course, to paint the church as it were, right? It's just maybe some pockets of churches who have been welcoming the politicians and, of course, also, in a way, defiling the sanctity of the lectern on the altar at the end of the day. So we shall be also looking at that with the panelists. And I've mentioned earlier, if you're joining us, we have also the chair of ELNET, that is Ethical Leadership Network of Kenya. This is John Nganga, who is here with us. And also momentarily we'll be joined by Bishop Dr. John Warari, who is the Executive Board Member of the Interreligious Council of Kenya. And also we'll be joined by Dr. Edward Nzinga from the National Council of Churches, National Council of Churches of Kenya. So the topic, of course, you can also join us, chime in with your contribution as well on that particular topic. You can use the hashtag #MorningPrime. Uongozi today. Okay, let's move on and we see what we have also on other dailies as well, as I've mentioned. We can cross over to, of course, Rwanda. We look at the New Times as well. But before we do that, I'll be remiss if I don't show you also what we have on the front page of Taifa Leo. And this is what you're waking up to on the front page of Taifa Leo. Wikendi ya Raila is a splash. Wikendi ya Raila, Jubilee ODM kuandaa vikao vya wajumbe kuidhinisha Odinga kuwa mgombeaji urais uchaguzi mkuu ujao. It says siasa, vyama vya Jubilee na ODM leo na kesho vinatarajiwa kuandaa vikao vya wajumbe katika maeneo tofauti kabla ya kuandaa mkutano mkubwa Jumapili katika uwanja wa Kamkunji Nairobi, ambapo Bwana Odinga atatawazwa rasmi kuwa mwaniaji wa urais wa muungano wa Azimio la Umoja. You can follow this story on page 2 of the Taifa Leo today. And this is how it went down. Mamilioni yapotea kwa mafuriko. This is a bridge that caved yesterday. Wakazi wa kijiji cha Pai katika kaunti ndogo ya Mashuru, Kajiado, wajaribu kupita kwenye daraja jipya la Pai ambalo liliporomoka jana baada ya mvua kubwa kunyesha Jumatano usiku. Ujenzi wa daraja hilo uligharimu milioni 100. Mwanakandarasi aliyejenga daraja hilo ameagizwa na serikali ya kaunti hiyo kulikarabati. And this story you can follow it on page 5 of the Taifa Leo today. Nairobi yamulikwa kuhusu utendakazi duni. You can follow the story on page 5 as well of Taifa Leo this morning. Okay, let's try and see what we have also on the editorial cartoons as well. And this is what you are waking up to on the editorial pages of the dailies as well. We begin with what we have in the Daily Nation, also the Star and the Standard coming up shortly. Our system's a bit slow here. So this is what Victor has drawn for us today in the Daily Nation. And my one vote, this is Uhuru and Raila. My one vote is going to Right Honorable Raila Odinga. And you can see on the slippery slope there is the Deputy President, who's, of course, trying to climb the mountain or getting to the peak of a mountain so far. I'll leave it for you to decipher that. That is in the Daily Nation today. The handshake. And, of course, trying to reach for the ballot there is the ballot box. Also is President Uhuru Kenyatta's personified here by Victor Ndula. That is in the Daily Nation. Let's move on to see what we have also in the Star. And this is what you're waking up to on the front, on the editorial page of the Star. And it's all about also the presidency. All of them are political. This is Uhuru trying to usher Right Honorable Raila Odinga on that particular seat, as it were, and who's hanging on that particular branch, looking longingly for that particular seat, is none other than Deputy President William Ruto. Right, I'll leave it for you to decipher that as well. Let's see what we have in the People Daily. And this is what you're waking up to on the front page, not really on the front page, but the editorial pages of the People Daily. Coming up shortly. This is what Stano has drawn for you. Yes, politicians now exchanging, of course, barbs there. One is saying, Madoadoa wewe, my tribe must eat this time. And we have also Wanjiku holding court there with the judiciary, personified as a tortoise there, you know, because they're really slow on the uptake when it comes to steamrolling, you know, cases as well. This is what perhaps Stano is thinking about today. Speed up the hearing of hate speech cases before it goes out of control. And of course, we had from the CJ that these cases of hate speech, they're going to be expeditiously dealt with before the elections as well. This is what Stano has done for us inside the People Daily today.